So today is a little bit of a different video. It's on my it's my new channel. So yeah, today's video we're doing Godzilla versus the Saja boys. So, and we're not gonna add Huntrix in because, well, there's no point in it. Because we already, I'm gonna say this now. If you looked up official lore, he's described as a supernatural being. That's what Godzilla is. There, done. But I'm not just going to use any specific. I'm not going to use any old Godzilla and say, oh, yeah, this is totally wrong. We're going to use one specific version of Godzilla. I think the Godzilla variant we are going to be using legendary Godzilla. Now, I'm going to be implying the fact that almost all the Godzillas are the same, except for EMK and Ultimate. There's only two legendary Godzilla doesn't keep, plus their as ability. Right. To scale this, we're going to go based on official lore for the Saja boys, and then to scale Godzilla, we're going to go based off the official Toho description on what Godzilla is. And then to scale Godzilla properly of his abilities, we will go based off of the Godzilla incarnation's abilities that he's keeping. Because we're going off the fact that Godzilla is always the same to each incarnation. So, we're going off this fact. This also implies that we decided to bring Huntrix into the equation. So yeah, there will be probably maybe a part 2 of Huntrix versus Godzilla. And this time, we'll do it properly, unlike Goji Guy, which, no disrespect, but you kind of need to look up actual scaling factors first before, because, like, you don't scale properly, Goji Guy, just no offense, though. Like, we still love the videos you do, but I honestly say the scaling kind of sucks. And KOTM is kind of right about how composite Godzilla scaling goes. But, yeah, we'd have to take into account that Goji Guy, when making his composite Godzilla, is like, just do the fusion dance and Dragon Ball until everything gets right. Which, no disrespect again, but do your research first. I know you had a ton of researchers, but you should also do the research yourself, too, to make sure you're actually right on that before continuing anything. But no disrespect. No disrespect. I respect you as a YouTuber as a whole. So, we're doing a proper, what if Grima sent the Saja boys to Godzilla's universe to fight him, the Titans, and all the humans who have pretty much either telekinesis or the Force, or, yeah, because nobody knows, because Godzilla's universe is like the holding universe for like stuff like World War Z and it remains like the holding universe for Marvel, World War Z and everything. Like, it's the universe that laps over all the other existing movie universes. Like I said, we'd be doing a Pacific version, as in a sense, it doesn't have a soul to take. We're doing one without a soul because it makes more sense to scale one without a soul first than to scale one with a soul. Because then Google gets it wrong and then we have problems. Because when people try to look up things and then they get all mad because Google gets every fucking problem wrong, then yeah. So, get into the video. We're going to start off with the Saja boys, and just going on their official lore, they can take souls. Which might not be a useful ability since, yeah, you might be able to teleport, take souls, maybe move at speed of light. Oh. But try moving at infinite speed. Yeah. Because we're saying Godzilla keeps the same past abilities except for GMK. And yeah, the only Godzilla abilities doesn't keep are GMK and Ultimas. And Legendary Gojira also gets some of his own special abilities that we've seen from the movies. So yeah, let's get into this. The Saja boys, right off the bat, are soul takers. They can take souls and stuff. And Green Ma's no exception. He's powered by souls. But now, they are equivalent to divine power. Just because they can take souls, don't go saying, oh, then they win for sure. Nope, I haven't even finished scaling yet. The thing is, we're talking about a Pacific one without a soul, and who literally has no remorse to what he just does. He's a simple animal and does not like being disturbed. But he does technically have a soul, but in a different sense. Like, he doesn't really have a soul, because if we're taking into account that almost every Godzilla is the same, except for GMK and Ultima, because they don't count as Gojiras. They count as fourth dimensional beings to supernatural becoming parts of Godzilla. Correctly scale this. He essentially has like a supernatural soul. You know, kind of like an angel, who are souls themselves. But if we're talking about how he has a soul just like an angel, but angels, well, if we're going to the sense that he has a soul just like an angel, because angels are, we're going to the sense that he is a soul like himself, because angels, like I said, when this was a supernatural soul, like an angel, his soul is like angels, the supernatural. Well, above supernatural, actually. So technically, he has a. We're going in that implication. That's an implication that this guy does have a soul, but doesn't have a soul. Because he is described as a supernatural being in Toho's sense. But, yeah. We're just including certain Godzillas because not only don't they not make sense for the scaling, but don't scale physically the way I want them and have too many weird, wacky abilities to scale itself. But we're going to continue scaling the Saja boys first, then we'll continue scaling Godzilla. Now again, the Saja boys can move faster than light. But what about dodging infinite speed? As again, we're taking in the fact that Godzilla... Oh, yeah, and again, when I say we're taking into factors that make sense for proper scaling, this is how you properly scale. Yeah, which the Saja boys can at best put out soul-taking levels. Which the problem is, if you don't know, the thing is, angels, as they're described in the Bible, are holy beings. And essentially they are pretty much souls themselves. But way beyond a normal soul. Way beyond a normal soul. Like, a soul that went way beyond full power. That's pretty much essentially what the best description I can give you on an angel is probably look it up. But yeah, they're not really souls. I mean, demons are souls morally less. But essentially what I mean is, there's something equivalent to a divine power. Like, angels, they're divine and ultra-powered. So we put that into a factor and we count that Godzilla doesn't really have a soul, just like an angel. Like, he doesn't have a traditional soul. He's just like an angel. Doesn't have a traditional soul like a normal human or a demon. He has a soul that is pretty much outer-versal. Like, it exists out of the realm. His actual soul exists out of the realm itself. It's like an angel, okay? So if y'all don't know, angels are biblical beings that, at best, put out almost God-level abilities. we're taking that into account that angels are supernatural or powerhouses. At best, they can put out almost, like pretty much, at best, they put out level feats that are akin to divine power itself. So at best, they don't even really have traditional, they're not even really traditional souls themselves. They technically do have souls, but they're just technically souls themselves. I mean, that's really morally is the best of my viewpoint on angels. But they don't have a traditional soul like a human or a demon. It's like they physically don't have a soul either. Like, they physically don't. Like, physical, like, not like our souls, but like, they physically don't have like a normal soul. In fact, they don't even have souls. They are truly beings of pure power. So, and again, why am I using angels as a base for a kaiju from a movie? I don't know. Again, I'm trying to scale Godzilla without causing people's fandoms to go haywire. But the thing is, this particular Godzilla who doesn't really have a soul, is again, like I said, if you haven't seen, he's morally a simple animal. Just how angels are just simply divine beings. And in that sense, they don't really have souls, like traditional souls at all. Instead, they have outerversal souls. What are outerversal souls? That means they are souls themselves that can appear in any type of form. Well, except angels can't really do that part. Or can they? I don't know. They have the problem is with angels, they have too many abilities. So if I was scaling that, the angels would probably just take this automatically. So again, we're basically saying that Godzilla Legendary is equivalent to divine rage itself. He's at least that's almost as powerful as an. He's at least maybe almost as powerful, or even more powerful than some angels. I'm using this as a base point for how I'm gonna scale Godzilla in a little bit. But back to the Saja boys from KPP. But that's just a short term of saying K-pop demons. They can obviously take souls as their name. They put out they mostly do city block levels of power because and Huntress is far to pass them. And they have normal mortal demon souls. Yeah, demons have normal mortal souls because demons are literally human souls that look very weird now. So yeah, doing the proper scaling. Now on to Godzilla. And of course the reason why I do not or Gojira. I don't know why he has God in his name. That's just how the English dub says it. I don't know, it should have been said. And sometimes it's like an English-Japanese dub. So if you don't know what an English-Japanese dub is, it's like a mix of English and Japanese at the same time as you speak. It's like, you've heard in some movies like this, like, it's Gojira or it's Godzilla. Yeah. Or sometimes they'll like mix what I mean like when they, it's Godzilla. They will literally say go. They'll literally try to say go and God at the same time, and it will sound like they're saying something else, which is what I call the Japanese English dub. Yeah, that's the official term I give it. So now, onto the Godzilla, the divine rage itself in the form of an animal. Again, as stated, I am using Legendary Godzilla, who, in a sense, just like an angel, doesn't have an actual soul. Technically. What I mean by technically is that they don't have actual souls. And what I mean like outerversal souls is that their souls aren't even a thing. They are just souls themselves, technically. But equivalent to divine power. So instead of this being a normal version of him, it's a version that we're using for this battle. Right off the bat, Godzilla scales above Mystery and Baby in his base form. He already scaled above Huntrix and their weapons. Even Huntrix at its highest power right now, at the end of the movie. They scale like 10 billion times below. What I mean is that Godzilla has no traditional soul. One is also a annoying issue is that if he did have a traditional soul, he wouldn't be Godzilla. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a soul, his soul can't be taken. But he doesn't have a traditional soul. He's like an angel. Pretty much a soul itself. He's pretty much a soul itself. Well, on the sense that angels don't really have souls anyways, and that they aren't really souls themselves, he would technically scale up to some of the most powerful angels in existence, like the Orphanim and the Cherubim and the Seraphim. He'd scale somewhere in that area. The reason why I'm using biblically accurate angels as a base point for how I'm scaling Godzilla is to properly get the scale done, because this is how you should have properly scaled Godzilla from the start, Goji guy, which I'm calling you out again for this. But this is how you properly scale Godzilla. You don't have to use the angels like I'm doing, but just know you have to if you're gonna properly scale a Godzilla, don't make it look like they did the fusion dance from Dragon Ball 100 times to just get it right. Scale it right. At least try to. If you can't scale it that good, just don't worry about it. Just try to scale it the best you can, but without making it sound like you're just favoring other characters because you're using a lower end version. So yeah, let's get on to some more factors about the kaiju itself. So now that you guys understand the baseline of Godzilla's power, we're going to scale up some of his abilities by scaling his thermal form, which obviously scales him up way past the Saja boys at this point. I'm honestly going to have to say Godzilla would win, but I'm doing a finished scale. And if we put the Saja boys at the strongest power, if they do return in second KPD, and if we make Guimai the strongest power in second KPD also, like, we're going to put them all at the strongest power. Godzilla overtakes them by a large number. And if we scale him up a little bit more with the infinite speed feats and having infinite dimensions and him have the power of the universe itself because the Hollow Earth, he scales right about to an biblically accurate Orphanim, Cherubim, and Seraphim. He scales to the biblically accurate versions of those. Yeah, the biblically accurate ones. Scales right somewhere in there. So yeah, there's no real true power scaling here. It was just all using something as a base point, then using the original base for the creature, taking the fact that he has multiple variants that can be him at the same time, and then taking the fact that he has no soul to take. Plus, we had other people like Ghidorah and the military and all the other kaijus who have no souls also, because they are also all simple animals. Godzilla destroys the Saja boys, no death. Video over.